Most men live their entire lives under a hypnotic spell, a quiet, devastating illusion that whispers to them from the moment they receive their first paycheck until the moment they retire in mediocrity. They believe that the number printed on a bank statement is a measurement of their soul. They look at their wage, meager and finite, and they allow it to define the boundaries of their imagination. They say to themselves, "This is what I am worth. This is where I belong. This is all life has allotted to me." And because they believe this lie, it becomes their law. They shrink their desires to fit their income. They shrink their spirit to fit their job title. They walk with the slumped shoulders of a man who has accepted a price tag on his potential. But I am here to shatter that glass ceiling today. I am here to tell you that your wage has absolutely nothing to do with your worth. Your wage is merely a historical record of the service you rendered yesterday. Your worth is the infinite potential of the service you will render tomorrow. There is a vast, unbridgeable canyon between the price the world pays for your labor and the value you are capable of generating through your mind. The tragedy of the average man is that he confuses his current station with his ultimate destiny. He looks at the dirt he stands on and forgets the stars he is traveling toward. But the master, the one who understands the philosophy of success, knows that a low wage is not a prison. It is a training ground. It is the resistance against which he strengthens the muscles of his character. To understand the law that forces wealth, and mark my words, it does force it, as surely as gravity forces the river to the ocean. You must first understand the nature of compensation. The world is a marketplace of value. It is cold, impartial, and precise. It does not care about your needs. It cares only about your contribution. Most people approach the fire of life with empty hands and say, "Give me heat, and then I will add wood." They demand the raise before the rise in responsibility. They demand the fortune before the formation of character. And so they freeze. The law works in reverse. You must pile on the wood of service. You must ignite the spark of initiative. And only then will the heat of wealth radiate toward you. Think of the great titans of industry, the men whose names are carved into the bedrock of history. Do you imagine they were born with the capacity to command millions? Do you think Andrew Carnegie, a poor Scottish immigrant working as a bobbin boy in a cotton factory for $1.20 a week, accepted that $1.20 as his worth? If he had, he would have died a bobbin boy. But Carnegie understood a secret that remains invisible to the drifting masses. He understood that while his hands belonged to his employer for 12 hours a day, his mind belonged to himself. He performed the menial task with his hands, but with his mind. He was building an empire of steel. He did not wait for the world to recognize him. He recognized himself. He over-delivered. He learned the job of the man above him and the man above him. He made himself indispensable not by demand, but by display of value. This is the first step in the transmutation of poverty into power. You must dissociate your identity from your income. You are not a 15-an-hour man. You are a millionaire in the making who happens to be providing a 15-an-hour service at this temporary moment. The difference is everything. The moment you begin to view your current job not as a burden, but as a scholarship, a place where you are paid to learn, paid to observe, paid to sharpen the blade of your discipline, you shift the polarity of your existence. You stop being a servant of the wage and become the master of the opportunity. Consider the physics of wealth. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred. Money is simply solidified energy, a physical token of value exchanged. If you wish to attract a massive amount of this energy, you must become a massive generator of value. This brings us to the most challenging truth, the one that makes the weak tremble and the strong rise. You are currently paid exactly what you are worth in the marketplace of service. That stings, does it not? It offends the ego. But stripping away the ego is necessary for the reconstruction of the self. If you were rendering a service that was rare, difficult to replace, and executed with extraordinary excellence, your wage would reflect it. If it does not, it is because your service has remained ordinary. But here is the glorious redemption in that truth. Since you control your service, you control your wage. You are the architect of your own compensation. The moment you decide to render more service and better service than you are paid to render, you place the universe in your debt. This is the law of overcompensation. It is as real as the law of physics. When you do more than you are paid for, eventually the scales must tip. The world is uncomfortable with debt. If you consistently deliver excellence where mediocrity is expected, if you bring enthusiasm where apathy is the norm, if you bring solutions where others bring complaints, You create a vacuum of value that nature must fill with reward. It may not come in your next paycheck. It may not come from your current employer, but it must come. It is law. The drifter says, I'm not getting paid enough to work this hard. The master says, I work this hard so that I will eventually be paid enough. The drifter allows his output to be regulated by the meager flow of his salary. He gives 50% effort because he feels he is receiving 50% reward. He cheats himself. He allows his skills to atrophy. He allows his reputation to rust. He becomes a discount version of himself, and in doing so, he guarantees that he will never rise. He locks the door of the cage from the inside. The master, however, works as if he is earning a fortune before the fortune appears. He polishes his craft in the shadows. He treats the small task with the dignity of a magnum opus. He knows that the quality of his work is a signature of his character, not a reflection of his pay. You must understand that every day you go to work, you are not just building a product for a company, you are building the product that is you. You are carving your reputation into the ether of the marketplace. Every time you arrive early, you are depositing equity into your character. Every time you stay late to ensure perfection, you are refining the gold of your personal brand. This value accumulates. It compounds. It is invisible to the naked eye for a long time, just as the roots of the bamboo tree are invisible for years while they spread deep into the earth. The neighbors mock the farmer who waters the bare ground. They say, where is your tree? Where is your reward? But the farmer persists. He knows what is happening beneath the surface. And when that tree finally breaks the soil, it shoots up 80 feet in 6 weeks. The growth looks sudden to the ignorant, but it was inevitable to the wise. You are in your root-building phase. Do not despise the days of small wages. Do not curse the obscurity. Use it. Obscurity is a gift. It is the darkroom where you develop your negatives into photographs. While no one is watching, you are free to make mistakes, free to learn, free to experiment, free to grow so strong that by the time the spotlight finally hits you, you do not crumble under its heat. You reflect it. The man who lets his wage determine his worth has surrendered his sovereignty. He has handed the remote control of his emotions to a payroll clerk. If the market dips, he despairs. If the boss frowns, he crumbles. He is a leaf blowing in the wind of circumstance. You must become the wind. You must generate your own atmosphere. You must walk into your place of employment, no matter how humble, with the posture of a proprietor. Look at the floor you sweep, the spreadsheet you organize, the customer you serve, and say, this is my domain. I will stamp it with excellence. When you adopt this attitude, a strange thing happens. You begin to outgrow your environment. The container can no longer hold you. People begin to notice not just your output, but your energy. You vibrate at a frequency of success that creates dissonance with mediocrity. Your current position will essentially spit you out, propelling you upward, because you have become too big for the box. This is how the law forces wealth. It is not a matter of luck. It is a matter of displacement. A large object cannot occupy a small space forever. Expand your value, and your world must expand to accommodate you. But how do we expand this value? How do we trigger this law when the hours are long and the spirit is weary? It begins with the conquest of the self. It begins with the reclamation of the other 8 hours. We all have the same 24 hours. 8 for sleep, 8 for labor. It is the third 8, the free time, that determines the difference between the peasant and the prince. The average man sells his working hours for survival and spends his free hours on escape. He comes home and numbs his mind with entertainment, with drink, with idle gossip. He consumes the creations of other men while his own potential lies dormant, rotting in the corner of his mind. The advancing man, the one who will command the millions, treats his free time as his laboratory. He is tired, yes. His body aches, yes. But his ambition acts as a second wind. While the world sleeps, he studies. While the world plays, he plans. He reads the books that his competitors ignore. He learns the technology that threatens to replace him, mastering it so he can command it. He understands that formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. He invests in his greatest asset, his own mind. He knows that if he can just increase his efficiency, his knowledge, his specialized skill by 1% a day, the law of compounding interest will transform him into a giant within a decade. This road is lonely. Let us not pretend it is easy. There will be nights when you question if the law is real. There will be mornings when the alarm clock feels like a hammer against your skull. You will look at your peers, the ones who are drifting, and they will seem happier. They are comfortable in their stagnation. They have accepted the ceiling. They do not bang their heads against it as you do. But comfort is the enemy of greatness. Comfort is the seductive song that lulls you into a sleep from which you never wake. You must fear mediocrity more than you fear exhaustion. You must fear a life of what if more than you fear the temporary pain of discipline. Think of Thomas Edison. Before the light bulb, before the fame, he was a telegraph operator. But he did not just operate the telegraph, he studied the flow of electricity. He tinkered, he questioned, he slept on the floor of his workshop using a stack of books for a pillow. He was working for a wage, but he was laboring for a vision. He saw a world illuminated by electricity, when everyone else saw only gas lamps and candles. If he had stopped at his wage, if he had said, "They don't pay me to invent," we would still be in the dark. His worth was not in his telegraphy. His worth was in his curiosity. He forced the world to yield its secrets because he refused to stop asking. You must cultivate a magnificent obsession. You must find that one thing, that definite chief aim that drives you beyond the limits of your paycheck. What is it that you want? Wealth, freedom, impact? Be specific. The universe cannot fulfill a vague request. You must know exactly what you want, and you must be willing to pay the price for it. And the price is always paid in advance. You do not get the success and then pay the dues. You pay the dues in sweat, in study, in sacrifice. And then, only then, does the success arrive. Most people are waiting for a guarantee. They want a contract from life that says, if I study for 2 years, I will become rich. Life offers no such contract. Life offers a chance. Life demands faith. You must work with the blind faith that every ounce of effort is being recorded in the ledger of the universe. You must believe that no good work is ever lost. It may be delayed, diverted, or transformed, but it is never lost. It returns. It always returns. This is where the separation occurs. This is the filter. The weak mind cannot handle the delay. It demands instant gratification. When the result doesn't show up on Friday, the weak man quits on Monday. He abandons the mind just 3 feet from the gold. But you are building a mind of steel. You understand the gestation period of greatness. You know that the bigger the dream, the longer the incubation. You are willing to work in the dark. You are willing to be misunderstood. You are willing to look foolish to the short-sighted because you are playing a long game. Your wage is a tool. Use it to buy your freedom. Do not squander your earnings on things that rust and rot. Use your wage to buy books, to buy courses, to buy entry into rooms where greater men congregate. Use your wage to fuel your side hustle, your investment, your idea. View every dollar as a soldier that you send out to capture more territory. The poor man works for money. The rich man sends money out to work for him. But before you can have money working for you, you must master the discipline of stewardship. If you cannot manage the wage of a pauper, you will never manage the fortune of a king. And as you rise, as you begin to apply this pressure of excellence against the walls of your circumstances, you will encounter resistance. It will come from friends who want you to stay small so they feel comfortable. It will come from family who confuse your ambition with greed. It will come from your own subconscious mind, whispering old fears and insecurities. Who do you think you are? You're just a laborer. You're just a clerk. You come from nothing. You must stand guard at the door of your mind. You must answer those voices with a declaration of war. I am not my past. I am not my paycheck. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. You must feed your mind with the thoughts of the person you intend to become, not the person you used to be. Visualization is not a daydream, it is a blueprint. You must see yourself in possession of the wealth you desire. You must feel the texture of the success before it materializes. You must walk with the stride of a victor while you are still in the battle. This mental transmutation is the secret sauce. It is what Napoleon Hill called the master key. When you combine a burning desire with definitive action and unshakable belief, you create a magnetic force that attracts the people, the resources, and the opportunities necessary for your rise. Sudden, lucky breaks will start to happen. You will meet a stranger who opens a door. You will stumble upon a book that contains the answer you've been seeking. You will have an idea in the shower that is worth millions. People will call it luck. You will know it is law. It is the inevitable result of the energy you have been generating. But you must keep the pressure on. You cannot let up. The moment you become complacent, the moment you think, I've done enough, the momentum dies. The law of inertia applies. A body in motion tends to stay in motion, but it requires force to overcome friction. The friction of life is constant. The friction of bills, of doubts, of fatigue. You must be the engine that never cools down. You must find a way to recharge your spirit daily. Gratitude is the fuel. Be grateful for the struggle, for it is making you strong. Be grateful for the wage, for it is keeping you alive while you build your empire. Be grateful for the vision, for it gives you hope. Look at the horizon. Do you see it? Do not look at the walls of your cubicle. Look through them. See the life that is waiting for you. It is real. It is pulsing with possibility. But it demands a trade. It demands that you give up the comfort of the victim mentality. You can no longer blame the economy. You can no longer blame the government. You can no longer blame your boss. You are the problem, and you are the solution. This is the most liberating truth in the world. If it is up to you, then nothing can stop you. So, what will you do tomorrow when you walk into that place of work? Will you go as a slave to the wage, watching the clock, doing the bare minimum, praying for 5 o'clock? Or will you walk in as an undercover agent of success? Will you attack your tasks with a ferocity that scares the mediocrity out of the room? Will you look for problems to solve? Will you serve with a smile that confuses your enemies and inspires your allies? This is the turning point. This is the moment of decision. The past is a canceled check. The future is a promissory note. The present is the only cash you have. Spend it wisely. Spend it on excellence. Spend it on growth. Spend it on service. Raise your internal standards so high that the external world has no choice but to rise to meet it. Do not ask, when will I get mine? Ask, how much more can I give? For in the giving lies the getting. In the service lies the success. In the discipline lies the destiny. You are a sleeping giant. Wake up. Shake off the chains of small thinking. Look at your hands. They are capable of building miracles. Look at your mind. It is capable of solving mysteries. Your wage is just a number. You are a force of nature. The law is waiting for you to enact it. Force the wealth into existence by the sheer undeniable weight of your value. The world is waiting for the person you are becoming. Do not keep it waiting any longer. Step into the fire. Let it burn away the dross of the average. Let it forge you into the steel of the exceptional. The path is open. The law is set. The time is now. Rise, rise and declare to the universe, I am worth more and I will prove it. And the universe will have no choice but to reply, so be it.